Hi guys, and welcome back to Chit Chat Podcast, where we chat all things women. We apologize about any technical difficulties, but we are back, and we are back with another episode talking about marketing businesses. And we want to make sure that we give these two businesses that we have on today the opportunity to market their business. One is a business owner who just started her business, and the other one who has been in the business for a year. So we're going to give them opportunity to jump on real quick, reintroduce their business and what their business produces, and then we're going to jump right into the episode and start discussing marketing strategies and how that the ideas of their businesses became birthed from start to finish. So without further ado, Jada, if you would bring on Miss Wendy Hall Henderson and Miss Keisha Hale, please. Hi, ladies, again. How are you?
Oh,
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're gonna try this again. So, Miss Wendy Hall Henderson, if you can go ahead and reintroduce us to your business again and what your business provides for the people.
hello. I'm Henderson. I'm the owner of Little One Things Baby. It's a little baby business. Just a little something for your bundle of joy. I do bibs, beanies, onesies, and socks. I add my own little tender touch with lots of love. Um, and the ages are 0 to 12 months for now, but um, our business grows. We're hoping to get into the toddlers.
Awesome. That is so precious. I love it. I love it. I love it. And so so you're just currently working newborns right now, hoping to work up the way to toddlers. Okay. So up to 12 months then.
Up to 12 months. We're just starting, so we're hoping to get the kinks out of everything and get everything up and running off.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So next we got Miss Keisha Hale. Keisha, let us know about your business and what your business provides.
Hi, thank you guys for joining tonight. Just a little bit about my business. So I have a boutique business and I carry a little bit of everything from clothing to makeup and face care to jewelry, from fashionable jewelry to a little higher end of fashionable jewelry. Um, and I also I have handbags. You guys can see some of the handbags behind me. Um, so my whole purpose of this business is to be able to bring affordable items to everybody, so everybody can purchase something nice for themselves or for friends or for family.
Awesome. And what great way to kind of provide affordable fashion wear on a women's podcast. Go look, we all like to, I know I like to shop, but we all like to have some affordable stuff. And whether it's an outfit, we can make an outfit work from Walmart, um, it doesn't matter. So when you say affordable, that's my kind of thing. When you talk about, anybody can afford some stuff that you provide. I like to hear that because a lot of people feel like when they hear boutique, they be thinking, oh, boutique is expensive. That's bougie kind of stuff. But when you say affordable stuff for everybody, and our platform says, we provide, um, support and encouragement for the everyday woman. So we don't want no woman to ever feel like they're left out on our platform. So when you say that it's affordable for every woman, I love that because it makes every person feel like they're included. Like at least somebody can buy something out of here. So that's awesome. That's awesome. So so you actually have a storefront, or you actually have a place for people to come and purchase stuff, or they just purchase online?
So I do everything online. this is just behind me is, the backdrop, the everything, my stuff on the cabinets and shelves and things. So right now I don't have anything like open for people to come in. Um, Eventually, maybe down the road, but right now it's online buying.
Okay, so I'll start with you then, Keisha. What birthed Kiki's fashionable boutique? What birthed that a year ago?
So I guess let me throw a little bit of background about myself a little bit. So growing up, I was a child that grew up in the special ed system. So all through school, I grew up being taken out of classes, not being able to read, not being able to be where the other children are. And so it tears your confidence down. So that was a big thing for me, even today, and where I'm at today in my career, is my confidence level. I still get nervous. I still get scared. So I thought watching other people do live events and sell things that I would be able to do that too. And it's not easy because you're being attacked by people on the other side because you don't see them, but you see what they're writing, or, like mentioned earlier, people just jump on and troll the internet. And so, but it has helped out a lot. I've met a lot of people, but with the business, when I really thought I wanted to start this was for me to go out to 55 plus age communities and to be able to give back to the elderly people that can't. A lot of them will move to those communities and they don't have vehicles. They give up their vehicles. So they have to rely on the transportation from that facility to go take them places. And they'll take them like to Walmart, to Target, to CVS. But, sometimes somebody wants something cute, just a little piece of jewelry, or, a little cute little outfit, or a shawl, or, the men want the cologne, or buy their little sweetie something. So the point was to be able to give back. I love to give back to people. So I hit some roadblocks. So I'm trying to get there still.
I love it. I love the concept. I love how it was birthed, based off a place where you were, as a person from your childhood, and you didn't let something that could have traumatized you keep you there. You allowed that to triumph you into something to create you to give back, and to make sure that other people saw you with value, and to be able to give value to other people as well. So I love it. I love the concept. I love that that you're doing what you're doing, and I think there's so much more that you can probably do with that. Sitting and thinking and strategizing with other people. I think that thing can probably take off and do so much more, especially when you're talking about working with the 55 plus community. So we'll come back and
Okay.
revisit that. But Miss Henderson, so tell us, how did your business get birthed? Thinking about the babies and wanting to put some love in the baby garments and stuff.
Okay. So um my mom used to be babysitter in my hometown, and I always just took to the babies. But I've seen a lot of businesses that were doing like a lot of things for adults. But what about the babies? Nobody thought about the babies. They're all little blessings. So I contemplated on it for a little bit. And so my daughter she was the one who said, Mom, you should go ahead. And so finally, I decided to go ahead, along with my husband. He was like, okay, do it, try it. So, my thing is, God gave me the vision. And if he gave me the vision, then plan. So I just went ahead and got.
Awesome. And then I love the fact that you have the support. Your family is behind you. They're supporting you. And there's nothing like being supported with your village and the people, that you're with every day. Because, when you're thinking, when you get your crazy ideas and you getting things and things are twisting and turning in your head, the people who are close to you the most, you want them to kind of grasp and catch on to what you're thinking. So that way they're supporting, even if they're not hands on, but you want them to be supportive of that. Because I remember birthing, Chit Chat podcast. I was part of a high school football podcast, and so we're talking football, and and people who knew me knew I loved football and I was a football mom and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't want to take away from that, but I wanted Chit Chat podcast to be their own thing without taking away from the football podcast. And so so I kind of wanted to pass ideas on, so I asked my kids, what they thought and all this kind of stuff. So yeah, so when I had the support of them, and then I asked the my crew from the football podcast or whatever, when I got the support from them or whatever, I finally pulled away and started Chit Chat podcast. So yeah, when you have that support, it helps propel you or catapult you to where you need to be. And it definitely gives you the confidence, like Keisha was talking about, the confidence you need
Yeah.
to kind of put you out there and say, okay, I can do this, or I have the necessary courage to be out there to do this and get this done. So that's important. What, like, since both of you are fairly new, I know Keisha, you've been a year into your business, and Wendy, you are fairly new into yours. What advice would you give to somebody who's thinking about creating a business or starting a business, but they're in between not knowing how to get started, what to do, all these things that people are thinking, like, I don't know what to do, how to do it, all this stuff that people think. So Wendy, what are some of the things that you was contemplating and that you could give to someone with advice on if they're thinking about starting a business or starting something like this?
Networking. Networking. Just be passionate about what you're going to do, and most of all, pray on it. Because, like I said, if he gives you the vision, then obviously he has a plan for you. So, and I talked to another young lady who had her own business, and she kind of gave me, some pointers. So, looking on the internet, so, just have faith and, just do it.
Okay. Yeah, and I think networking is a great opportunity, because if you see other people who stepped out there and have done some stuff, you can kind of connect with those people. Hey, how did you get started? How did you do this? Connecting with people, trying to find resources, all that. Those are great. That's a great way to definitely get started. So I would definitely chime in and say networking is one of the great resources or great tools to utilize. So Keisha, what about you? What advice would you give somebody who's trying to get started creating a business or uh,
Can you hear me? Okay. So I would definitely give people the advice to find a checklist of everything that you need to have done to start your small business. Because there's a lot of things that you don't think of, and you run into those hiccups, i.e. sales tax. Oh, you think you pay it at the end of the year? No, you pay it every month. So the IRS will start sending you bills. Also, the commerce, not only the state, but you also have your county that you're in. So there's a lot of different pieces that go into owning your own business. I just thought, oh, the IRS and the state. Well, no, there's more than that. And then how you register your business. And then all the money that goes into just starting the business, and networking. I didn't network in the beginning. So I started out getting pieces at a higher price point, which if I sold them, then I would just make even on some things or maybe lose some money. Until I actually stepped outside my comfort zone and started talking to people. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're a business owner. Let me help you here. Let me help you here. And then I started to see those discounts, or those, so where I could sell something to somebody at an affordable price, even when I had to mark it up a little bit just so I could buy another one. So it's understanding what goes into a business. So, finding that mentor, somebody that has already established that type of business or any type of business, to say, hey, did you do all these things? Because if not, they start showing up, and sometimes they got fees aligned with them. So
and that's so true. And knowing, and definitely knowing the business part, the background part of that is so important, because especially if your business is a business that entails money. um, you know, my podcast started out, and I was like, well, I want to make sure that my podcast was a podcast that I can utilize and establish a business with it. But at the time, we wasn't generating any money from it. Like, I wasn't generating any money from it, and based off my job and the type of job that I had, if I did generate money from it, I had to like report it, because my level of job. And so I was like, well, so I don't want to do that. I just want to, whatever. I just want to keep it at, I just want to make it a LLC. So once in the future, I do, make it a business where it generates funds, or if we make it on social media where we're allowing us to create and generate funds, then I'll have it already established. But yeah, knowing those parts of the business is so important, because, and I've been learning so much of that. And talking to one of my classmates, was talking about the business credit. She was teaching me all of that stuff, and and how to attain that, and create that, and all this kind of stuff. Because she was like, you give so much, from your podcast. Like, you're providing stuff to people out of your podcast, out of your pocket, and all this kind of stuff. So you need to make sure that you're able to establish those things, for your business or whatever. And so so I've been learning so much. And so when I go full retirement mode, there are gonna be some changes for Chit Chat Podcast for sure. But right now, we're not generating any funds. But yeah, knowing that business part is so highly important, because one, it keeps you out of trouble when it comes to the business side, the IRS, and all that kind of stuff. But also, it also teaches you too, because once you know the business side of everything, that's half the battle. Everything else is secondary to that, because you want to make sure that you're learning the important part first to establish the foundation of the business, and then creating everything else outside of that to keep the business flowing, the revenue going, and all those other things, the residual coming. So that's definitely important. So I was going to talk about when we're talking about marketing and launching your business, what were some of the things you did, Keisha, since you've been in business for a year? What were some of the things you did to launch your business, to market your business in the first year of your business?
So I use Facebook a lot to do Facebook Lives. So just friends, word of mouth, to get it out. So but when you use Facebook and use Facebook Lives and things like that, you're reliant on other people to share your information out. So if nobody shares your information, then you don't build that community. It just kind of stays stagnant. And also, I've talked to a couple of 55 plus communities, and I can go anytime that I would like to go. And so it's just getting out and talking to people, you know. Even for Miss Henderson, you know, people have grandchildren and great grandchildren, and those are options too, where you can go to 55 plus communities or things like that. Venues that don't cost money. So just so you know, a lot of venues cost money.
Yeah.
So, and $200 or $300 when you may not even go there and make a sale is kind of hard to put up that money, especially in a small business as you're first starting up. So,
yeah. Now, when you do a lot of live shows, because I know you say
yes.
you do. So, are you doing a lot of live shows, like marketing your products live?
So I'm not as proactive as I should have been. So like I said in the beginning, I had some hiccups when I first started my business. 2 months I was sick and with pneumonia and fighting that for 2 months. Then right after that, my Facebook account got locked out for almost 3 months. So that was just the way that I would go out and go live. And it was during the holiday season. All this was going on. So now it's just, I need to be more proactive at doing my lives at least once a week or twice a week, you know, because if I'm not constant, then I'm not going to bring in people either. So I have to be constant. So that way they know, hey, every Tuesday, Keisha's going to be on, and every Thursday, so they can spread the word. And just by coming in and me showcasing a new item or something that they like, they may say, hey, or they may not like it, but know their friend likes things like that they can share my name and my platform.
Awesome. And I was thinking about, because when I was talking about live, because I'm not sure how much of the 55 plus community do live or be on social media like that, but because most of them are probably daytimers, not so much of the evening or the night timers like most of us younger folks are, but maybe you can create something for them, like on a, how like Goodwill or Salvation Army always have like their, days of the week. They have their specials on the days of the week. Maybe you can have a special day just for them. And then, everybody else, you do live on that special time for, your social media audience, your regular social media audience or whatever. So that way you're reaching, your broad audience, both ends. So that way you're creating an opportunity for you to reach, majority. Just a few little ideas for that. Because I know your target audience was 55 plus community and plus your Facebook followers and all that. So so that way, if you want to hit your 55 plus community, kind of create something fun for them, because you're talking about your senior citizens, and they'll shop. It's just got to be during their time. If it's bingo time or senior citizen time or whatever, if you give them, I'm telling you, if you give them a discount and they think it's the best deal, they're gonna shop and look for it or whatever. So even if you have to do it on like a Saturday or something early, for them, a Saturday matinee or something, create something just for them. They'll tell all their friends about it. And before you know it, you'll have 50 of their friends online because that's big for them.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen. So that's why I'm telling you, they're big about spreading things with their friends, telling their friends. So that's some pointers for you. So Wendy, what are you starting to do to kind of like launch your marketing aspects for your business?
So pretty much the same thing as Miss Keisha, word of mouth, Facebook,
Okay.
talk. Um, but one thing she brought up was live. I have not done a live, so thank you for that. I need to take out the time to do a live, and like she said, be proactive. So that's basically it. Just word of mouth, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, social media gives us the easiest platform to kind of utilize our businesses because it's already there. We got, TikTok, we got YouTube, we got, Facebook, we got Instagram. So you guys can, you can post pictures of products and merchandise, prices or whatever, create flyers for it or whatever the case may be, and marketed stuff that way or whatever, weekly sales, or when it's time for Mother's Day or a holiday or whatever kind of package stuff, that a basket or whatever, however you guys want to do it, but that's y'all best like marketing strategy, using the platform because it's free. And
Right.
you guys ain't got it, and if you got, a account for each of those, you can utilize that for free. And sometimes you can spend extra money like on Instagram or whatever and do an advertisement. Because I've done an advertisement for Chit Chat Pod where you can pay a few dollars and like have your advertisement of the business, be advertised, a banner be advertised about Chit Chat Podcast, ever so often throughout the day for a week, or, however you set it up to do. It's based on how much you pay, but, there's a cost for that, but, it's based on how much you want to pay and how often you want it to be seen or whatever. But there is some cost for that, but you can also do that. So that's some pointers for that. But branding. So what are you guys doing about branding? So I'm gonna ask Wendy, since I know you're just getting started. Branding is very, very important for marketing. So what is one like branding and your logo? So that's gonna be very important for marketing. So and you want to make sure that your brand or your logo, pops out and people can see it and they can remember it. Colors are important. A logo is something that keep people remember, like, oh, I remember that baby bottle or that baby, bib kind of thing. That's Wendy's thing, so, and that's how I wanted it to be for Chit Chat Podcast. Because, if you look on YouTube, there's several Chit Chat podcasts, but I always tell people, look for the podcast, the Chit Chat Podcast with the headphones and the red lipstick. Like that's our logo, that's our brand. So you'll see several Chit Chat podcasts, but you won't see but one that has the red lipstick and the headphones. And that's our podcast. So and so that's how you got to kind of brand yourself or market your brand. So that way people know, no, that's that podcast, or that's them, because some people are some people can have the same name or whatever, but the branding and the logo can be different based off what they provide or what they, presenting. So that's why I said that's important. So what are you, Jada, bring up Wendy so we can see Wendy, because I remember the baby stuff. Her business one, the business. The business title, Jada.
The logo.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
logo. Yeah, that one. Precious Little.
No.
Yeah. See, yeah, that's yeah. See, because people gonna be like the one with the bear.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll be able to, yeah. See, it's and then you have a logo that says all things baby.
Yes.
Yeah. See. See, I like that. So that's a good branding. That's a good logo. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. So good job on that. Good job on that.
Thank you.
Okay, what about you, Miss Keish? Kiki Fashion Boutique.
Oh, well, I still haven't got my sign up there. I'm still working on it. So,
Okay.
I mean, I went and I created my own, like, I don't know if you guys can see my picture very well.
Okay.
Can you see it? Oops,
Is it on
sorry.
Facebook?
It clicked off of it. Sorry.
Is it on
So,
Facebook?
so it's on Facebook, but this is like my big thing. So I created. So that's,
Let's
so I
see.
want to
Can
take
you
that.
go on Facebook and try? Okay.
Yeah. So it's the one that's in the back. So, and I wanted something bright, something that stood out.
Uh-huh.
That, and flamingos are my favorite.
Okay.
Kiki's my nickname. So, and then, the little design, just to make them a little design, they have designer stuff on and things. So just so it was just something that just stuck out to people.
I like it. And I like that the flamingo got the pearls on.
Cute.
That's so
Yeah.
bougie. I love it. And it's pink. My daughter would love it because it's pink. She loves all things pink.
Oh,
Yeah. So yes. So great job on y'all on your branding and your marketing because that's important. Because now when people think about Kiki's boutique, the thing that's gonna stick out to them the most is the pink for one, and then the flamingo. They're gonna be like the flamingo, and then with Wendy, the precious little one, they're gonna be thinking about the bear with the baby leaning on the bear. So, that's important. So you guys did great on that. I think you guys did great on that. So, when you're setting goals for your business for your first 90 days, what was one some of the goals you set for your business, Keisha, for the first 90 days?
so for the first 90 days, that it was just to get my place set up. I wanted something that was appealing. That's why the back is set up the way it is.
Mhm.
The other side is a whole nother story. But, because I wanted it to appeal to people. Because I go on Facebook Lives and some people will be in like a dungeon of a basement. It's dark. You can't really see things. You can't. So I wanted it airy and bright, you know. So that was number one thing, trying to get it set up. Number two was trying to get merchandise. Um, and then tried to set up shows. And I left things in the ball in other people's park, and instead of doing it myself, and thought that they would come through, and they didn't come through. So everything that I was excited for, go out and do these events, it didn't. It fell through, and then I got sick. So it's just the biggest thing is understanding how much stuff you need, how much product do you need. I've done a lot of classes since then, and they said, find your niche. I fell off my niche because my niche was first 55 plus communities. And then I just went crazy. That's why I said, now I have stuff for men. I have stuff for boys. I have stuff for, women, young girls. And I was like, well, I could take that and they could buy for their grandkids. They can buy for themselves. They can buy for great grandkids, friends. But then I have so much product. So I have to come back, as these class I went through, this guy said, dwell it back to what you first started with, what your goal is, what you want to do.
Right.
So
you have to find out what your audience is. That's your target audience. Yeah, that's what, when they say define your niche, define who your target audience is. So that way you're not like buying all this stuff, and then you got all this stuff, and then you're not selling all this stuff because your target
Yep.
audience is from the age of such and such and such and such. And, you know, then you got stuff over here that's not selling because, you know, that's for, you know, people beyond that age. So yeah, you have to make sure, you know, you have a target audience, and if you see the need beyond that audience, you know, based off of what, you know, how business is starting to run or flow, then you can kind of create, you know, add that into the flow of things once business starts flowing. Hi Libra, that's my best friend. She has a business
Oh,
as well, and she's doing really good with her business.
awesome.
Hopefully she come on and showcase her business. I utilize her a whole lot. So hopefully she come on and showcase her business or whatever. She's back with a storefront now, so I don't know if she's gonna have time, but we'll see. But hey BFF, I don't threw you out there. But she said I just launched my store today. Ah, congrats. She just opened it back up. She opened it, closed it, now she opened it back up. So congrats. Ah, so proud of you. But so Wendy, what you know, what was your goal for the first 90 days? What's your goal for the first, because you're just getting started. So you've
Yeah,
been in business how long now?
probably like a month.
A month. Okay. So
Yeah.
what are going to be some of your goals for the first 90 days then?
Hopefully to get my website up. So I don't have my website up. Like I say, we're trying to get some kinks out of something. So hopefully to get my website up. To do I'm hoping to you know, just start my online business, you know, just it's a lot. A lot. Like I say, I'm still working through some things, still learning. So,
Yeah.
you know.
And it's a continuous learning process, but you know, you want to make sure you're able to continue to learn because you're only as successful as your business. So you
Right.
want to make sure you put as much, knowledge and info and learning about your business as possible because you want to make sure that you're investing in you. That's your business. So you want to make sure that you're giving yourself the due process and knowing everything that you possibly need to know to, you know, make sure that you're setting yourself up for success for your business. But I do, um, Jada, she probably won't tell y'all this, but Jada do websites and flyers and um, all kinds of stuff, but she does websites and flyers and stuff like that. So if you ever need services or whatever, if she has the time, you guys, where I can reach out to her and ask, you know, hey, do you have the time to help build such and such, or, you know, create such and such, you know, or whatever, you know, ask, you know, that's a resource that you can use. I'm throwing it out there. That's a resource you can use or whatever. You know, our class just, she said I have the time. Our class just used her for our flyer for alumni weekend. So I was like, let me ask her if she had a time. She had the time and she created our flyer for that. So but yeah. So yeah, you know, if you guys, sometimes I don't have the time, you know. So you know, I had to take her shopping, you know. I pay her. I pay her for Chit Chat Podcast now. I pay her, you know, she get groceries, she get clothes, she get food, she get all kinds of stuff, but I pay her. And gas. but yeah, so you know, that's a resource if you guys ever need it from the podcast, you know, from technical assistance or whatever, that she has those expertise that she can provide as well. So I just want to throw that out there. But I was gonna also bring up when we're talking about networking, we know how important networking is. You know, sometimes like, you know, connecting with the right people, you know, sometimes can help you. Like this is part of networking. You guys being on this platform, you know, giving you guys an opportunity to showcase your business, putting it out there, sharing it on our platform. And so that way, you know, Wendy, your business being shared, if Keisha's sharing her page and you sharing your page, and Keisha business getting shared from your page. So that's a part of like networking. And so you just don't realize how much networking really makes a big deal. And I know that we always talk about the most common like platforms like Facebook and Instagram or whatever that that's commonly used. But also one of my biggest networking, especially for the podcast, is LinkedIn. Um, I post the podcast information on LinkedIn. I get hits on LinkedIn all the time about the podcast. That's how I got, you know, getting the Love Doctor on to the podcast. That's how we got introduced because he had a podcast or whatever. So people with like interests, they're, you know, they're going to see your information, reach out, whatever. Other business people have reached out to me, invited me to their business meetings to see if I had an interest in stuff that they were doing. So LinkedIn is another platform for networking as well. So, you know, utilize those platforms and utilize different areas of networking. You know, so that way your business get, you know, its best venue of like trying to get, you know, people, you know, advertise and promote it. So that's a great opportunity. You know, we put up a board at work to advertise like our, you know, to put, you know, put pictures of our pets up there, advertise like recipes, share recipes, and then they have a part on there. Did you know? So on the did you know part, I put on there I put one of the podcast cards up there because I have podcast cards. So anytime that I travel or whatever, I take podcast cards. So I leave them in the bathroom of the airport. So in the women's bathroom in the airport. So I just leave some cards there. So that way they can grab them or whatever. And you'd be amazed because I see people from like Ohio and whatever, you know, added or subscribed to our podcast from Instagram or YouTube. And it's probably because they don't picked up a card at the airport somewhere. And or whatever. And it's just that's a form of networking because, you know, here, check this podcast out, you know, scan the card, and we got a scanner on there. Just check us out or follow us or whatever. And people do that. So, you know, never like, you know, networking is a amazing tool, you know, especially if you know the people or you know people. I'm a people's person, so I like engaging with people. But if you know people, whatever, getting out there, meeting people, introducing yourselves. Hey, I just started a business. You know, if I get out, you know, if you have an opportunity, I would love for, you know, talk to you about my business or to share my business on your platform or at your, you know, women's event or whatever the case may be, if somebody has something going on. So definitely use the networking part. So also I was going to bring up, if you thought about, if you guys thought about doing something like an event for your business, like I know that Wendy, you have like a new business, so this might be a good one for you, like launching, you know, creating. I know when my best friend started her business, like she did a bunch of products, and she kind of did like a launch thing where she was just selling different things, and people were able to, you know, she was able to showcase the stuff, and they was able to buy the different stuff because she already had stuff on hand or whatever. So that might be a good idea for you or whatever. And you know, and Keisha, it might be a good idea for you to do something like that, you know, or have a couple people model a couple things. You know, people like to see stuff on people to see what it's going to look like, or, you know what I'm saying? Or you put on a couple of your pieces to see, you know, what it's going to look like or whatever. Or, you know, or you know, showcase a purse or whatever. And, you know, those kind of things, you know, matter. You know, people like to see, you know, see the stuff. So, yeah. displayed on somebody. Because look, I had no idea you had a boutique, girl, because you could have had a customer and me. You've been here, what, a year with us at work? You could have had a customer with me for a whole year. So, but yeah. So, is there any questions you guys have as far as what we, oh, Jason, I also will be launching my social media managing brand to help brands and businesses grow with their platforms. Okay, great. Okay, so Jada's going to be launching her social media managing brand to help brands and businesses grow their platforms. So Jada does a lot of branding and social media for TikTok, and so she's been like a TikTok ambassador, Sheen ambassador. She got several for social media. She's been doing it for a few years, and so they've been allowing her to market their stuff. They send stuff. They don't send everything. They don't send doggone uh, 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 perfume to kitchen stuff and all this kind of stuff to the house or whatever. And she check these things out, utilize it, tell them, and then do videos about it or whatever. And it helps market, because based off of her followers or whatever. And then, of course they pay her, and then, and it gets people to buy stuff, based off what she say, how well the product is or whatever. And so so she's been very successful with that. She did a little book about it, a little ebook or something about it about a year ago. So then I told her, I said, you need to start doing it, because a lot of people want to start making money from like social media. People want to do, be able to get brands and make money. That's the whole life of social media now, right? Everybody trying to make money. And so, but people don't know how. And so I was like, so, tell people what they need to do and how they need to do it, how they need to get their followers up and stuff like that. Because, I mean, she can get, 500,000 likes on a crazy video. And I'd be like, well, how? That video was stupid, and I'd be thinking like, how in the world? But it's because she has faithful followers and they love her. They love what she put out. They love her content, and it's all about content. And so even if you have a business or whatever, it's about your content. And so, and I know that I got to be, more insightful when I retire and have more time to try to start putting out more stuff for Chit Chat Pod. I said I was going to create short videos and reels for Chit Chat Pod to kind of advertise it more, especially like on YouTube, to create some more advertisement or videos to, kind of be floating around to help promote Chit Chat Pod. I don't have the time now, but I do. That is on the horizon for me to do. So if that's something that you guys are looking to do, maybe you can look at doing that on your own or seeing Jada about what needs to be done for that. But that's another option. She said rebranding currently, but it's coming really so before the end of the year. Okay. There was another comment I missed. What are the businesses again? Oh, so Libra, we got Keisha. Keisha Hill has a Kiki fashionable boutique, and she's on Facebook. She's a female veteran-owned business, and she sells, purses, clothing, all kinds of items. So check her out. And Wendy Hall Henderson has Precious Little Ones, all things babies. So she has right now all newborn stuff, anything from bibs to onesies, hats, and all those things where they personalize those items for the newborns. So ladies, So before we wrap up, is there any last closing comments that you would give somebody who's starting their business that you want to kind of leave with them?
Just do it. Just do it. I mean, but just make sure, be passionate about your business. And pray about it and just do it.
Awesome. Keisha, any last comments that you would give to someone in regards to wanting to start a business and getting started and putting their business out there?
My biggest thing, can you guys hear me? Sorry, my iPad died. So my biggest thing would be to really think about it. Don't just, we all want to just jump, but sometimes when you jump, financially is not the best avenue. So start out small and you can always grow. You don't always have to have everything in the beginning. So just remember, those baby steps, use those baby steps.
I agree. Everything definitely needs to be thought out. Don't just jump into something. Make sure you're prepared. Um, make sure you prepared enough for things before you jump into it. My best friend says, "Don't give up. Start small and grow." Yeah, you got to start. Yeah, start small. You got to start somewhere, and provide and give that time to allow some growth. It's not going to happen overnight. So give yourself some time to build and grow on the things that you're trying to do. And if you have the vision to see that thing get started, have the vision to see that thing all the way through. You got to give it time to grow. So marketing your business is it's not about being perfect. It's about doing things your way, and it's about being consistent with it. So whatever you do, just be consistent with it. It ain't about me doing it like somebody else doing it my way, but being consistent about it. That means every post, every conversation, every connection I make. If I do something like, that's why I don't change our date for the podcast. We're live at 5 on Sundays. And so if we're not live at 5 on Sundays, we're not on at all on Sundays. And so I that's the consistency that I want to keep, because that was our slotted time. That was our time when I wanted women to have their time. I knew that men had their time, like football Sundays. So I wanted women to have their special time. And so so that was my thing. So every post, every conversation, every connection counts. So stay with that consistency. If you found anything that we said or the lady said today helpful in any event on you thinking about starting your business or becoming an entrepreneur, definitely reach out to one of these ladies, reach out to us. Follow the podcast, help us to help you strategize on how to grow your business, to how to create, your followers into your customers, and creating and promoting your business for growth. We definitely want to make sure that everybody have an opportunity to market and promote their business. So, and we want to give you an opportunity to do that. So thank you, ladies, for the opportunity to come on Chit Chat Podcast. I hope it won't be your last time coming on. You guys have an opportunity to come on and market your business anytime. If you want to utilize a Sunday or a time to pre-record and do a live recording for your business, if you guys want to do like a giveaway or do some shopping, special shopping for the holiday, let me know. We can set something up or whatever, and create something like that for you guys. But we're here to help. So anything that we can do to help, we'll definitely do that and make sure that it's shared on all of our platforms to help you guys do that. So is there any other last minute comments? Thank you, Libra. You was in my hand.
No, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so we're gonna pull y'all information up again. So people, go check out these ladies' businesses. Look them up on social media and check them out. We got Kiki's Fashionable Boutique on Facebook with Miss Keisha Hale. Check her out if you're looking for some items, fashionable items. Look her up and check her out in her business. If there's anything that you're looking for to purchase, hit her up. If you need her contact information, you should be able to find it on her Facebook. If not, reach out to us and we'll make sure we get her contact information to you. And Miss Wendy Hall Henderson for the precious little ones. If you got a newborn baby or you know somebody's going to have a baby and you need some items purchased for that little baby, that upcoming little baby, get with Miss Wendy and let her create something out of love for that baby. And here's her contact information. She can be reached on Facebook and via email here. But if you can't reach her, then contact us and we'll make sure we reach her for you. But that's all we have for today's episode. We will be showcasing businesses all month of this month to allow people to market their business and promote their businesses. But I do want to make sure I hit on September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. So if there's anybody out there who has been struggling with mental health and need resources available to them, please hit us up at chitchatpod at gmail.com. We have some coaches, some therapist coaches in our group, and we also have resources, information that we can provide to you guys for resources to the suicide prevention hotline and to some therapists and licensed church pastors that can help you. So do not suffer in silence. Suicide is, and mental health is very important. Your mental health is very important. We need to make sure that we're all taking care of each other. Our health is our wealth. So, and so is your mental health. So make sure you're taking care of yourself and you're a priority for yourself as well as other people. So with that being said, we will talk with you guys next week. It's been a great one. Thank you again, ladies, for the opportunity of showcasing your business. And if there's anything that we can do to help promote it, we'll post your guys' information on our page all this week. So that way, if other people want to reach out, they'll have your information to reach out. So we'll see you guys next week, everybody, hopefully with a couple other businesses to promote next week. So talk to you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Nice.
Bye.